Okay.
Variants
Dr. Soumitra Das, can you tell us what are the research findings that you are coming up with at the National Institute of Biomedical Genomics? You're doing a lot of genome testing yourself. How are you seeing the nature of this virus change from earlier? What are the maximum strains that you're picking up now? And is this new Indian mutant variant more, we know it's more infectious for certain, but is it more fatal than the virus that we were dealing with in the first phase?
Right. First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to clarify certain things. Number one is this mutations in RNA virus is not a surprise. I mean, as Dr. Ganga Khetkar has rightly mentioned, that it is very obvious and it's very natural. But the thing is, it can be actually increased with the selection pressure, and also in sometimes when we have a situation which somehow gives advantage to the virus. Something of that Rakesh was mentioning, that COVID inappropriate behavior, which really help the virus to actually propagate more and then find out easily other hosts. Now, regarding what kind of sequencing we are doing it in IDMG is actually coordinating the sequencing part of this INSACOG, which is a national consortium of 10 laboratories, sequencing laboratories, including, CCMB, what Rakesh was saying. So we try to coordinate all the sequence and try to analyze and find out whether there is new variant are coming or not. Now, as I was saying, that we keep on spotting new mutations, but it's very important that it has to be correlated epidemiologically and clinically with the disease outcome. Whether it is more infective or it is more severe can only certainly be told if we can have a clear correlations with the clinical and epidemiological data, which is we call metadata. Often we found that we actually struggle to align the two because of the lack of information of the metadata collected from remote places or hospitals. So once we find out that some mutations are actually accumulating and it's crossing a threshold. See, you mentioned about the 618 coming out in West Bengal. Yes, it was actually observed in mid-February and March, but now the data shows like it is in the declining, and it's actually plateaued for a while and now it is declining. So our data suggests that 617, which is actually more prominent, was in Maharashtra, is now picking up and somehow competing out the 618. So we need to watch out and see that we can correlate with the infectivity rate and the disease severity or the mortality. So that is very important. Now, we can only attribute a particular mutations to have a clinical some implications if we have that data strong. That's basically which we call variant of concern. I would like to reiterate that still now the 617, which we are talking about, this double mutant, but that's actually a colloquial. 617 actually had 3 mutations. I would like to clarify that issue also. 617, what we talk about, that B1, 617 had 3 mutations. Which one was an E484K? Then you had this 452R, L452R. Along with there, you had the P681R. Now, the first 2 mutations, the L452R and E484Q, was actually picked up because they were relevant in terms of immune escape. The third one, the 681R, actually gave some advantage for infectivity. So together, it's actually becomes a triple mutant. So the double and the triple mutant is actually one and the same. It's a misnomer to say it. So it's better that we adhere to a WHO nomenclature of the numbers